Welcome back, Halo followers. Today we're going to talk about 343's changes to Season 2. Obviously, Season 2 introduced a couple of really cool maps, a couple of modes, but it also introduced a few problems, right? And that would be weapon jamming. There was also the removal of skill jumping, in which they actually do talk about in this little blog post, which we're going to be recapping in a moment here, and also the infamous tank gun. People have been talking about this because this is just like a glitch in the campaign that doesn't really affect the multiplayer experience. It's just kind of cool, and it feels like 343 Industries is kind of removing like an Easter egg glitch, which is really no reason for that because you got to really go out of your way to do that. I think they also removed the ability to drive the Pelican in campaign, and that is just weird and unnecessary, ultimately, especially with the game lacking on content. So they took to their site on the forums. They said weapon jamming, all right? After hammering on this since seeing the first community reports, we've been able to identify the root cause of the issue, and we'll be reverting the recent change to help get this into players' hands quicker. We have integrated this into our upcoming update and are eager to get this released as soon as possible. Now, they also talk about map transversal, in which they say that they made a mistake removing a number of skill jumps from the game, in which includes the live fire key, door, and house panel will be coming back. On Bazaar, the double doors, both sides, Aquarius, P-side edges, and also Streets Pizza. I can't imagine that this is all of them, but it's a good start as far as like bringing back a lot of the skill jumps. I actually really do not know about all the skill jumps in this game because that's just not my expertise, but I would hope that that is most, if not all of them. I don't think it is. But now, why did they do this? I think it's because the maps were not designed to play like that, and that's what they actually said here. Places where the environment was poorly communicating the transversal options of the game world, places that created combat imbalance or a combination in both. You know, this is just a thing that they didn't really intend, but I think it's an important part of the game because it kind of opens up a little bit of a skill gap, allowing players to use these paths as long as the game's mostly fair. But, you know, if you kind of want to practice these jumps and get an edge on your experience and fighting other players, you know, in multiplayer, I think that this is a really cool thing. As long as it's mostly fair. I mean, skill jumps have always been in Halo, and I think removing them is kind of a tone-deaf thing to do. I think that they are an important part of the community and an important part of the skill gap, right? So they also talk about campaign speedrunning. An important part of speedrunning in the campaign was that tank gun, and I believe that this was a glitch that was easily accessible in the game. I think maybe an Easter egg too, I don't know, but they say making its return to the campaign with this upcoming update, the tank gun has found its way home above Outpost Tremonius. In regards to some of the other common strategies, many of them are far more complicated as they are closely intertwined with the work we've been doing in preparation for co-op, but we'll continue to explore our options. I would definitely love to see the return of the Pelican. Again, just like the tank gun, I think it was a cool little Easter egg that players could enjoy in the campaign, and I think with co-op coming up, because that is coming up likely, I think, what was it, in August, the roadmap communicates that they have a target, that it's not set in stone, but it looks like campaign co-op online, not split screen, but online, is going to actually come in Season 2, and it's going to likely work for the most part. I think it's going to have some issues, but as long as there's some cool things we can enjoy with our friends here, like the tank gun, the Pelican, which, by the way, I think the reason why that was removed was because you're invulnerable in the Pelican, but I really don't see the problem with that. You know, it's a cool little Easter egg thing, so yeah. That being said, there is a few more updates to the game, PC stability improvements, and based on community feedback, equipment pods and Last Spartan Standing will now feature all equipment rather than just power equipment. And the Rakshasa, or whatever you say that, armor core's legs, when using body types 1 and 2, will look as intended. I think that the armor was actually a little bit broken for Season 2's armor core. And in campaign, collected Spartan cores will accumulate correctly, and a player's balance should now always be accurate. Some players with campaign saves from pre-Season 2 ended up with their Spartan core balance and equipment upgrade track in a bad state. This should now be resolved. Really do not want to be seeing these kind of issues that break people's campaign saves. Really does worry me because it feels like this campaign is kind of held together with duct tape. They also say address a rare issue preventing players from capturing zones in King of the Hill, and on Bazaar, the Overshield will now spawn in the start of the match. Pelican vehicle drops will now match their pre-Season 2 frequency, and type. Wasp respawn timers on high power will now be brought in line with their Season 1 timers. In BTB, fire team color markers should be applied to your matchmaking fire team again, and disabling speed lines should function as intended. This was a huge one that was upsetting some pro players. Glad that it's being taken care of. Anyways, I think this update could have come sooner. But, regardless, it is here. It has been a couple weeks, but it is now being addressed, especially the tank gun, the speed jumps, and as well as the weapon jamming. I think this update is out or coming out very soon. Well, anyways, guys, you let me know your thoughts about this down in the comment section below, and I'll catch you in the next one soon. All right, you take care. Peace.